Hi, this is Alken, and welcome back to my channel. Well, we have some interesting news from the state of South Carolina. Apparently, the Attorney General there is going to be the lead Attorney General leading some kind of action against Dr. Anthony Fauci over the COVID-19 response. Even though he got a pardon from President Biden, it doesn't stop the states from going after him. And South Carolina appears to be the first state to go after him. But they're not the only state involved, but I didn't see who the other states are. So I'm going to read you from SAN, short for Straight Arrow News. Says state attorney generals seek investigation of Dr. Fauci's role in the COVID-19 pandemic by Lauren Taylor. A group of state attorney generals led by South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson is seeking to investigate Dr. Anthony Fauci's role in the COVID-19 pandemic. They cite allegations of mismanagement, misleading statements, and suppression of scientific debate. This follows a report from the House Select Committee that claims that COVID-19 likely emerged from a Wuhan lab and AI funded gain of function research. The attorneys general argued that President Joe Biden's pardon of Fauci does not prevent state level legal actions and are requesting cooperation from congressional leaders for further investigations. The difference between federal government here and where Trump is, at least putting this out in the open. So a group of state attorney generals is seeking to investigate Dr. Anthony Fauci and his role in the COVID-19 pandemic before President Joe Biden left office. He's granted a blanket pardon for Fauci, who was neither under investigation nor convicted of a crime dating back to January 1st, 2014. The gain of function incident occurred around 2015. That's around the time they moved this stuff from the United States to Wuhan, China. A presidential pardon is an official act by the U.S. president that forgives someone for a federal crime, usually removing any penalties or consequence. In a statement, Biden said that the insurance of these pardons should not be mistaken as an acknowledgement that any individual engaged in any wrongdoing, nor should be accepted to be misconduct as an admission of guilt for any offense. Our nation owes these public servants a debt of gratitude for the tireless commitment to our country. Fauci served as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease from 1984 until his retirement in 2022. He worked under President Donald Trump's first term, coordinating the U.S. response during the COVID-19 pandemic. Fauci and Trump frequently crash over public health matters. Fauci often disagreed with some of Trump's views and public health suggestions, particularly regarding unproven treatments and downplaying the severity of the virus. Fauci's stance on measures like mask wearing and social distancing led to significant backlash from some of the Trump supporters. It turned out the 6 feet rule didn't really help at all, and some of the masks weren't even blocking the virus. Some paper masks or cloth masks were not blocking it. You have to have a specific mask that it will work on this virus. They view his guidance as restricted or an infringement on personal freedoms. The criticism intensified as Fauci became a prominent figure in the national response to the pandemic. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson is leading the coalition. According to an official press release, Wilson said they are investigating Fauci's role in the COVID-19 response. He says they are demanding accountability for alleged mismanagement, misleading statements, and suppression of scientific debate. In December, the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic released its final report Following its 2 years investigation, they found that COVID-19 most likely emerged from a laboratory in Wuhan, China. The report states that the National Institute of Health, NIH, funded and oversaw gain-of-function research with U.S. taxpayers' dollar at the Wuhan lab. Since then, we also found out that U.S. aid also contributed money for the Wuhan lab. Wilson assessed that Dr. Fauci worked to discredit the lab leak theory and misled Congress by allegedly providing false testimony regarding NIH-funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, whatever the hell that means. The Attorney General said that Biden's federal pardon of Fauci does not prevent state-level legal actions. In a letter to the House, Speaker Mike Johnson of Louisiana and Senator Majority Leader John Thune of South Dakota, the Attorney General requests cooperation in providing us with information that could outline potential courses of action on the state laws should they exist. We are fully committed to investigate any malfeasance that may occur to the fullest extent of our authority and are prepared to collaborate with you in further efforts, Wilson stated in his letter. Now, of course, we know what's happened since then. Like I said, USA was discovered to have funded additional funds for Wuhan lab. Like I said, the mask and the 6 feet rules didn't quite work. There was spreading misinformation that some of these treatments weren't working. I mean, look, Joe Rogan, they were criticizing him for taking ivermectin. They thought he was taking the horse paste. And when reality is, there's a human version of that medication. That medication was the first one that came out before the horse paste. The horse paste came later. But ivermectin was available in pill form for humans. That's what he was taking to try to get over his COVID, and they heavily criticized him. That's one of the reasons why they lost Joe Rogan to Trump later on. So, and all the other nonsense, you couldn't be with your family, or they were dying in the hospital, or you had to be 6 feet apart, or you couldn't do funerals, you couldn't go to church. But the protesters of Black Lives Matter were allowed to do whatever the hell they wanted. I mean, even when I had to take my wife to the hospital during this period, I wasn't allowed to stay in the hospital. I mean, be with her in the room. I had to be outside, or can't be in the hospital at all, depending on the circumstances. I think I was wrong on the second one, but I'm sure I'm right on the first one. So I lost valuable time I could have had with her. So, and then of course, the vaccine, we're not sure if the vaccine did more harm than good. Because, again, Fauci was saying, how great the vaccines were, but yet it didn't stop the spread of the disease, nor blocked it from the person. If you got it the first time, you shouldn't have been able to get it the second time. But you have people who got it more than once. Even Fauci got it more than once, despite the fact that he got the vaccine and the boosters. So, I don't know what gives, but yeah. So, yes, I would like to see him face justice too. Because that dress you see behind me was my wife's. She's not here anymore. I blame Fauci for that. Whether it was the vaccine or the COVID that got her, all fingers point to Fauci. So he cannot be allowed to get away. If the federal government can't prosecute him, the states will. So that's about it. This is Alcan saying so long for now, and don't forget your stop.